The Donkey Who Fetched the Sea. In the middle of a distant desert stands a green oasis town. And though the sun beats down all year, there is a lake to the east and another to the west, and both always brim with cool water. Once, long before the lakes were there, a small donkey called Charky lived in the village. He was owned by a poor family who scratched a living from dry, dusty land. But though they had barely enough to eat, what they had they shared with Charky. 3 times a day, Ali, the youngest son, strapped 2 buckets to Charky's back and led him a mile to the well to fetch water. As they went, Ali would talk happily to Charky. Other children called out, "Hey, Ali, there you go, talking to that donkey again. Don't you know donkeys are stupid, stupid, stupid?" But Ali only stroked Charky's ears and told him, "Don't listen to them." Then one day, Ali only came twice with buckets for Charky to carry to the well, and that night Charky's bowl of drinking water was half empty. 2 days later, they made only 1 trip to the well. "The well is drying up, you see," said Ali. "They say that in a few days there won't be a cupful left. It's the end for all of us. Donkeys too, I'm afraid." That night, Ali was so worried that he forgot to chain Charky to the wall of the house. When the whole village had gone sadly to bed, the little donkey was still thinking, "I must do something." Then he remembered. Once he had heard Ali speak of a thing called the sea, made completely of water. "I'll go and find the sea and bring it back here. It may be a bit heavy, but I'll manage." He started out at once. He was not sure which direction to take, but hour after hour he walked until, when he turned, he could see nothing of the village in the moonlit distance. "And still I haven't reached the sea," he thought with surprise. Dawn came, and he kept on walking. Then night again, then dawn, then darkness once more. He pressed on through the heat of the day, the cold of the night, without food or water. There was no strength left in him, but on he went, determined to reach the sea and bring it back. Days later, he was battling on, when there in front of him he saw a man slumped in the sand. He went up and nuzzled him gently. The man groaned. He was dressed in fine robes, and on his fingers were rings of gold. "My friend," he cried out, "help me to my palace, and you shall have anything in the world you want." Charky's first thought was to hurry on, to find the sea. He did not know if he had the strength to carry a man on his back, but he thought, "I can't leave him here. What would Ali say?" So he knelt down, and the wounded man was able to clamber onto his back. With his new load, Charky stumbled on. As they went, the rider began to recover and talk to Charky. "I may seem weak and helpless to you, but in my city I am a king of great power. I was attacked by bandits and left for dead. But you found me, friend. You rescued me, didn't you? I won't forget it. You'll have your reward, I promise." Somehow, without water, without food, the 2 pressed on until far away they glimpsed the faint outline of a city. "Keftalia, my home!" cried the rider. The people of the city were astonished. and ran to see their king come in through the gate, slumped on the back of a tiny donkey. But he would not stop to speak to anyone. He rode right up to the palace doors. Only then did both Charkey and the king stop to drink at a fountain. The king's wife greeted him with tears of joy, and doctors fussed about him, but he drove them away. "Send food and drink to my chambers, enough for a man and a donkey. And next to my bed set up another with the finest silk sheets for my friend here." A murmur of astonishment swept through the palace. But that evening Charkey was tucked up in a royal bed, with perfumed silk sheets drawn up to his nose. "Good night, old friend," called the king, as the candles were blown out. Next day, Charkey was given a white saddlecloth with the royal insignia embroidered on 4 corners. Then the king led Charkey to a secret place at the back of the palace, down a flight of stone steps until they reached a dimly lit chamber. "This is where my magician Melchior lives. Melchior knows everything. He tells me that you are seeking the sea to carry back to your village in the desert." In front of them stood a tall, thin man in a deep green robe. His grey eyes shone strangely. He went to a dark corner of the room, and a few minutes later reappeared holding 2 ordinary buckets. "In each of these buckets is more water than in the largest sea." Then Melchior got up and emptied one onto the stone floor. There was a gurgling sound, and of its own accord, the bucket filled up again to the brim. The king said, "In our dry desert, this is almost as precious as life. But you saved my life. The buckets are yours. You can go home carrying not 1 sea, but 2. Charkey went up to the king, and they rubbed noses to say thank you to each other. The way back was easy. Charkey had all the water he could drink, but he had to hurry, for he knew that time was running out for the village. When at last he saw it, the trees were brown and dead, and there was no sign of movement. He clip-clopped quickly to his old house and brayed loudly outside the door. He heard a dry shout from inside, and Ali appeared, his lips white and cracked. "Charkey, you've brought us water." The whole family drank their fill, thinking they would at least live for 1 more day. But to their astonishment, they heard a gurgle in the bottom of the buckets and saw them refill. From that day on, they had all the water they could ever need. And if you visit the village today, you will find lakes on either side of it that never dry up. People say that a magic bucket lies at the bottom of each lake. And in the square of the prosperous town stands the statue of a little donkey.